Hello, good morning everyone. I am a little bit late today because I had to drive to see my brother-in-law. He needed some help filling out an application for some kind of a New Jersey business loan. Anyway, it was quite an experience trying to figure out that financial information. I'm not much of a financial expert, but Google is good and I learned a lot today. Um, I hope everyone had a good Resurrection Sunday and that you were filled with hope, filled with a lot of expectation, and knowing that the resurrection of Christ is everything, and that because of his resurrection, you can go on, that he truly is alive, and because of his death and resurrection, you and I are not only forgiven, but we're also victorious, and we can receive all of the promises that Jesus made because he made a promise to rise in 3 days and he kept his promise. And so that proves to me that all of his promises are true and that everything in the Bible is true as well. So today I wanted to read from Joshua chapter 1. It's a very familiar verse to many of you. It's when Joshua was about to cross the Jordan River and God speaks to him and says, be strong. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. This is something that I've held on to many times. And in that first chapter of Joshua, he says, be strong and courageous many times. And God is not a redundant God. Like he doesn't have to repeat himself because he forgets or because somebody like me who continues to say the same thing because I forgot that I said it. But in God's word, if it's repeated, that means that's how important it is. And it says in verse 6, it says, be strong and courageous. Verse 7, it says, be strong and very courageous. And then in 9, it says, have I not commanded you? Like I just told you the past couple of verses, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. To be honest, this past weekend I was very discouraged. I don't know, after Good Friday I was I think physically tired and disappointed in some people and disappointed in a lot of things, and I just felt super sad about everything. I would hear a story on the radio, I'd start crying. I'd hear a good news about somebody, I would start crying. I heard news about this man named Mr. P in Italy who's 101 years old. He lived through the Spanish flu, he lived through the Holocaust, and then he got COVID-19, and then he even survived that and came home. And even that story, which is such good news and such great news of hope, I started crying and I said, well, something is wrong with me right now. Why am I crying so much? And I think I kept myself very busy to try not to deal with the fear and maybe the anxiety of what's going on right now. But I got very encouraged reading this again. It says, be strong and courageous, and you don't have to be afraid, and do not be discouraged because the Lord is with you. That used to be a saying of mine, like wherever I am or whatever I did and was not seen or recognized by somebody, I would just say, well, God knows what happened. Or if somebody was mean to me or insulted me, I would just say, well, it doesn't matter because God knows the truth and God knows my heart and God is with me. So that was something I used to do on a regular basis. But I think in these past couple of weeks being by myself and just not being really accountable to anybody except myself, I just started to get very discouraged. And even though I knew in my heart that yes, of course God is with me, he's with me wherever I go, I didn't feel it on a very personal level, I guess. I just knew it up here, but I didn't feel it so deep within. And then I had a breakdown because on Saturday I had like what they call a brain, I just forgot something very important, and I never forget those kind of things. So I thought, oh, this is the beginning of Alzheimer's. I got discouraged. But going back to God's word, Joshua needed to hear that because you get courage not because you're not afraid, right? When you're not afraid, you don't really need courage because you can be bold. But when you're afraid, and then God says, "Be courageous," that's where it comes from. That courage comes from knowing that God is with you and that you can go forward. It doesn't mean that you're gonna not be afraid anymore. It means that you're still afraid, shaking and trembling maybe, but you're gonna go forth because you know you have confidence in someone else besides yourself. You have confidence in the Lord going before you, being with you, and also being behind you. Uh, Also, it says that it also says to me that Joshua, he was there right in front of the Jordan River, and they say that time when he was there, it was time of like the floods and stuff, so the water was actually rising. And just like this COVID-19, we don't know. Everyone says it's going to get worse before it gets better, and it looks like the waters are rising up in front of us. And how are we ever going to get through this? How is this ever going to be normal? When are we ever going to cross this Jordan River? And yet God gave Joshua the courage, and he said, "Be strong and very courageous. Do not be afraid, for I am with you." And don't get discouraged. Don't think that this Jordan River is the end all. Don't make the Jordan River big and make God small. Remember that I am bigger than all that. I am bigger than the Jordan River, and I am bigger than the coronavirus. So that's my word for you today. I pray that all of you will, after receiving the hope of Easter, receiving the hope of Jesus' resurrection, that today will be a day where you can be strong and courageous and not get discouraged because you know that the Lord is with you. I pray that all of you do not lose. A lot of you have, been okay, so far, and then there's going to be a time where this Satan attacks you and gets you discouraged or gets you sad. And it's okay to be sad. I cried a lot on Saturday. And then finally I was able to share with some friends, why I was crying. And then I was able to kind of recover and then move on again. So I encourage all of you, if you're sad, you just need someone to talk to, you can always call me, you can always talk to me, and just tell me. You can just cry and tell me, and I have no judgment, I have no advice for you, but I'll listen to you. And I guess that's all we really need. We just need someone to listen to our fears, to listen to some of the discouragements we have in our life, and then to be encouraged once again that God is with you. He promises that, and I promise you that. I am just a old fallen woman, but I am also his righteousness, and I am also his vessel for to serve you and to love you. And lastly, I think we have to remember our neighbors. And so in these past few weeks, I've kind of had my own little list of who I'm going to take care of. So first, it was my family. So I went to see my mom and my aunt and whoever that's directly involved in my family. I tried to take care of them. Secondly, I tried to take care of people I know that have special needs. So I have a lot of people in my life that have special needs. And then I tried to take care of those that are sick. And then last week I tried to take care of all my students in my church. And then I realized, I could do it and repeat. Like I could go back to the beginning and repeat again. But then I realized I don't even know my neighbors. When I go out the door and I hear somebody come, I close the door because I don't know them. And they probably know me as the one with Rick James who's always barking. So I decided, not today, but by the end of this week, I am going to write a note and leave it at everyone's door. And maybe a gift too. And I'm just going to introduce myself and say, "Hi, I'm your neighbor, and if you need anything, let me know." I'm sure in this fancy building that I live in, they don't need anybody, but I'm going to at least do it because you never know. Maybe they need something that I have. So I'm going to put myself out there. It's a little bit frightening, but I'm going to try. And so I pray that all of you will also do the same. Not only care for your family and your friends, but reach out a little bit beyond that. Go beyond your comfort zone and do as God said, because that's what the Lord asks us to do. Love your neighbors, not the ones that look like you and talk like you and act like you, but really the people who God has placed in your midst and in your environment. So God bless you. And I know that a lot of you are already doing that. So I love you very much. And see you soon.